1st, 5:30 here at the Transportation Conference Room located 2139 Washington Avenue. Roll call, Scott Damon here, Amber England,
Here.
Bonnie King,
Here.
Tyler Smith,
Here.
and Ray Seahorn is not here. We're going into closed session to discuss Personnel Government Code 54957, conference with legal counsel anticipated for existing litigation, Government Code Sections 54956.9, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Sections 54947.6, graduation requirement waiver, California Education Code Sections 51225.3, pupil discipline, California Education Code Sections 48918/35146. We're going to go into close just for 5 minutes, just the board on one, and we'll have everyone else join us. Thank you. That's fine. So, all of these questions. Okay, welcome to the Orville Union High School District Board of Trustees meeting scheduled for Wednesday, June 21st. Results of closed session. On a motion by Amber England and seconded by Bonnie King, revocation of the following 22-23 expulsion orders were approved. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 16, and 17 were approved, and that were carried with a 4-0 vote. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
And salute pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda variance. Do I have a motion for approval
So,
and a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public hearing. Item number 1, the 21 to 24 Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP. Dr. Willenberg.
So every year, we're required to have a public hearing on the local control accountability plan. This is the second year of a 3-year plan. It's been updated to include proposed actions and costs to be taken to meet each goal and input from various stakeholder meetings throughout the year. This document also includes 23-24 LCFF budget overview for parents. The board will take action on this item next week. We had to make a couple of changes with BCOE. They're the overseer of it because after you approve it, we send it to BCOE for approval. We've sent it to them a couple of times and had them look at it. We had to add a couple of percentages in that. So the local control plan in the link is not the plan that you have in front of you because it has the new changes in it. So we'll bring that plan next week for you.
Okay, this item is now open for public discussion. Any comments? It is now closed for public discussion. Is there any board discussion on this item? All right, item 2, the 23-24 local performance indicators. Dr. Willenberg.
So by law, with the LCAP in the budget, we need to bring you a report on our local indicators, and that's determined by the state. So performance standards are appropriately assigned teachers, access to the curriculum, safe classrooms, functional facilities. That's priority 1. State standards. Do we have state standards? That's priority 2. Parent and family engagement is priority 3. And then we have school climate, which is priority 6. Access to broad course of study in priority 7. And so we've put that out there for you. And so we've had 3 misassignments because we had vacancies over the last year. We will fix that with hiring this year. We should have everything taken care of. We are using culturally responsive, positive behavioral intervention supports as our discipline policy. We do have standards implemented in all the core subjects. And our facilities are in good repair. Are there any questions on the local indicators?
It is now open for public discussion. It is now closed for public discussion. Is there any board discussion on this item? Thank you, Court. Item number 3, the 23-24 original budget. Dr. Watts.
I put a packet beside each one of you with a summary sheet so that it will make it a little bit easier when we're talking about each of the funds. The district budget's based on the governors, or the governors may revise, the states may revise. So the state is working on their budget yet, or still. And so when that is finalized, we'll put those changes in the budget at a later date. For the general fund, we're looking at having enrollment of 2,153, which based on my estimates, is down by 193 students. ADA, I'm estimating at 1,917, or down 115 students. The COLA is 8.22% in the local control funding formula, and we have 83% of our students that meet the criteria for unduplicated. So they're homeless, free and reduced meal, foster children, etc.
Susan, can I just ask you, I saw that before in different things. What does unduplicated mean?
It means it's an unduplicated count. So if they're free and reduced and they're English language learners, they only count once. So they don't count in both categories. The PERS, which is the classified retirement system, increased 2.46%, which for the district contribution, and the total percentage is 26.68%. So for every dollar, 26.68% goes to an employee's retirement plan. The OST medical contribution went up $1,133 a year, and so the total for an active employee is $26,518 a year. Our property and liability insurance steeply went up this year. We went up $193,000 to a total of $890,000. And the risk of wildfire in our area is a big topic of conversation. So that is affecting our rates. We have 2 SROs in the budget for $247,000. We have the purchase of 2 diesel buses. Diesel buses are going away, and so while there are still some available, we're going to purchase 2 more so that we're still able to do our longer trips. And then we have a grant to purchase 4 special ed electric buses. The restricted ending fund balance, the requirement is 3%, and we are exceeding that by $15 million. And we have that money for a variety of reasons, but we still haven't done settlements for the budget year with our employee groups. There's one-time money in there that you've approved funded projects for that haven't been completed yet. Protects us during declining enrollment. We have aging facilities and vehicles, so we can replace those as needed. Volatility in the state financial picture and unplanned needs for special ed students. The school business advisors of groups like the Small School Districts Association, Capital Advisors, School Services of California, warning that the state is balancing this budget it has a $3.5 billion deficit, and they're budgeting or balancing it with one-time funds. So they're warning us about maybe what would happen this year with the property taxes or with our income taxes being extended out until October. The state won't know its revenue until those have been submitted, and so we'll have a better picture in January. They're saying be prepared for mid-year cuts or deferrals, things that we've gone through in the past. There are also, many districts are experiencing declining enrollment. This is the budget year is the last year of some one-time funds, the COVID funding, the ESSER grants, and the expanded learning grants. And so we have some ongoing expenditures on there. So, we have to make some decisions. Do we keep doing those, or are we going to fold them into unrestricted? So it can cause a bump in our unrestricted funding expenditures. And then many economists are projecting a mild recession in 23 or 24. So we have to be cognizant of that. And so they're just recommending caution. So if you look at the general fund summary, we're projecting that we're going to end the year with $22.8 million. Revenues, expenditures will be $44 million with revenues at 47. The components of the ending fund balance, the bigger items, we have a lot of restricted money in there right now. for grants that are allowed to be spent over multiple years. So, we're just projecting they won't all be spent next year, but we'll have money to carry forward to future years. We have our scholarship funds in the general fund, and then we have some assigned money for vehicle replacement and athletic field lighting. So that we meet the 3% reserve. We have, board policy has a 17% reserve, so we have the 14 on top of that, and then we have an unassigned ending fund balance of 10 million. So that's some of that. We've got to break that down. Some of it's one time, some of it's ongoing, and those will be the pots as we make changes for the upcoming year, incur new expenses, or negotiate with our employee groups. So that will be where that is coming from. The student activity fund, and that just reflects the activity in the ASB accounts at Las Plumas and Oroville, and it's projected at the end of the year with $351,000 between the two schools. The adult ed fund, receives a $1.4 million adult ed block grant. It funds 13 full-time equivalent employees plus part-time teachers in the fee-based courses. We're projecting they'll end the year with $784,000. The cafeteria fund is expected to cover all expenses and add to their fund balance. They fund 11.7 FTE. We're in the process now of looking at the FTE now that they are operating in the black, and is there areas we can add staff to make things easier, on other things, or be able to offer things that we're not offering now.
That is a major change.
It's huge. We're to the point, Jackie and I met last week, because there's restrictions on how much you can carry over, and they're at that point. So, she's got to work with her expenditures so that she's not adding on to that every year. But
What is FTE?
full-time equivalent employees. So you might have 2.5
Right.
and then add it together as one FTE.
Well, that's really exciting.
It is exciting, and it's not something that she's used to. So, getting her to spend a little more money is more difficult.
Wait a minute. A woman can't spend whole money.
I don't think that was very nice. Lonnie and Amber, you need to keep him in check.
I know, right?
And then capital facilities fund, that's our developer fee fund and our RDA fees. We are using a big chunk of RDA fees to fund the Harrison field and track project. So the timing's probably a little bit off on that, in that we budgeted for it to be finished this year, which it will really happen in next year. But when it's all done, our balance will be decreased to probably about $300,000. And then we have the capital facilities project where we're collecting developer fees with $1.3 million, and that's to do facilities projects to accommodate future growth.
So Susan, where did the money come for the new turf?
From the RDA fee boundaries.
What
Projects went into the RDA. It's money within our community. So the RDA, I don't know the exact boundaries, but it's been told to me it's basically the city limits, and it's supposed to eradicate blight within the city limits. So improvements of facilities, which means the district office, transportation, or the high and Harrison Stadium are the only facilities that would qualify for that, for that funding to be used on.
So how much money from that?
We get about 273,000. We had not spent it on anything. So we had built it up to over $1 million, knowing that we had the Harrison Stadium
Right.
project.
I understand.
What's the date of completion on that?
Before they need it for football. They started like the day after graduation.
Has there been any vandalism there?
No.
Have you heard anything? I haven't heard anything.
They rolled the turf out yesterday, but we'll talk about that later.
I saw it sitting around the track,
Yeah.
but
funding we keep getting every year? Is that
Mhm.
okay?
Yes. And some of the RDA went away. There's not a lot of information on it. And so it's just this money comes in when they do the tax payments to the school. And I've tried to talk to people on the RDA committee. I've talked to the city attorney at one point a long time ago, and there's just not a lot of information as to what we get and how we get it and those kind of things. So we just set it in
Just
the
so you
pot
get it.
and wait until we have a qualifying project.
And there's one more question about that too.
Mhm.
Knowing that our field will have now shelf life again, can we continue to like put that money aside or some portion of it so that we can
Right.
get
Yes.
to that point where we can pay for this again?
Right. Exactly. I know. I was when they put it in the first time and they talked about the shelf life. I thought, oh, I hope it makes it until I leave. But you were thinking and putting this money, knowing the balance kept rising. It looked like we had quite a bit of money in there, but knowing that you had that project coming up sooner than later, and we were able to fund that.
Is the expected life on this one 13 years also?
I have
I
not,
think it's like 12.
Well-
but we got more out of it too. It was taken care of.
But our track also, it can be resurfaced now, right? In a
It
different
cannot
way.
be resurfaced. The new one will.
That's what, yeah, the new one
The
will
old one cannot.
Which
save
saves
us a
money.
little money.
What's that?
Which saves some money, right?
Right.
And then the last fund is the bond interest redemption fund, and that's just the collection of the property taxes and the debt repayment on the bonds that we've issued in the past that did the Harrison Stadium and some of the new construction projects on both sides, where the library, LP's new gym, and then some classroom wings. And so that's taxes are assessed by the tax assessor, and they make the repayments of the debt at the county level. And then the long-term debt, I just like to touch on that each year so you know what's out there. The first three items have to do with the general obligation bonds and total, about 14 million, 15 million. Accumulated depreciate or a vacation, and that's just what people have on the books on June 30th for vacation that could become, if they left, become a liability because that gets paid out. And then we have the solar loan, and then we have 5 more years on that, and that's paid with savings on our electricity bill. And then we have a net pension liability, and that is our share of the gap at STRS and PERS, where they haven't fully funded their pension plans. And so that gets allocated out to all the districts every year. And then we have the net retiree health benefits, and that's actuarially determined amount that they say we should have set aside to cover health benefits, retiree health benefits for everybody that's employed today. We don't do that. We do the pay as you go. So we're paying premiums annually based on actual costs, but we still have to reflect that in our financial statements. And then the multi-year projection, you'll see the out years, 24, 25, and 25, 26, the fund balance increasing. But none of those years, including the budget year, include settlements for our employee groups. And there's one time board approved projects that still have to come out of the 23, 24 20 fund balance that the board approved their list, and Jim's been working away at that. He has progressed through it quite a bit, but there's still some pretty high dollar things that we still need to do. So with that, we project that we are financially in good health for the budget year and the 2 health years.
All right, thank you, Susan. Recognitions and presentations, report from the Boys and Girls Club. Huh?
That's a public hearing.
Sorry?
Follow the box for that item. Public comments, board comments.
Oh.
Like you.
We're on to number 5.
We will,
Oh.
on the agenda, just follow that as well.
You're saying the budget that we're on is a public hearing, that we need to
Yes.
ask some questions.
Any questions on the budget then? No. Is that closed for public discussion then? No more discussion, any comments? Okay, that item is closed, thank you. Recognitions and presentations, report from the Boys and Girls Club of the North Valley.
So Mr. Campos and his staff from Oroville, and he has a student with him, are going to talk about the Boys and Girls Club of the North Valley.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, folks. Hoppy Campos. I'm the area director of the Boys and Girls Club in the North Valley. So basically, I deal with teenagers all over Butte Hamilton. We wanted to come today. What you have in front of you is first our impact statement for 2023. So that's this last school year. As you can see, just following along, it's just kind of a snapshot, the anecdotal stuff we kind of do that people don't really think about when you think about the Boys and Girls Club in the North Valley. We have a lot of really amazing secrets at the Boys and Girls Club, which is my biggest thorn in my side. It's the thing that probably irritates me the absolute most about working for a nonprofit, because we do a lot of wonderful things and a lot of it is siloed and kind of secret and not a lot of people know. The main thing that we do is we invest in youth. We help youth reach their potential. We help youth see themselves as they can be, not as they are. There's nothing wrong with where they are, but we want to help them get to where they want to go. And sometimes that takes a little bit of, hey, let's figure it out. A lot of what we do is relationship based, having kids come. That being said, we're open to every single kid. If you live in Oroville, we're open. We're on Las Plumas and Oroville High School campus, which we're so grateful for. That's a large part of today is just my gratitude towards you guys. Mr. Willenberg paving the way, having us seen as, not just something that's there, but something that's an asset, something that really can help. I'm really committed this year to working with different youth-based organizations in Oroville so we can kind of come out of silos, point our boats in the same direction, paddle half as hard and go twice as far. Something I'm kind of interested in. It might shock you, but I like to go further and work harder. Not afraid of hard work. I'm getting older, so I need to work smarter. And my wife wants me home. So working for a nonprofit, we're not home alone. If there's something going on the weekend, we want to be part of it. If there's an opportunity for our kids, and that's where wonderful people like Angelina St. Chow, she is our coordinator for our Oroville High School site. Jayla, who could not be here tonight, she's getting ready to go to Tahoe tomorrow. We're taking kids to Tahoe, and we're doing it on purpose, and we're not kidnapping anybody, which is a great thing. We're actually taking, it's a combined trip with Oroville and Chico, going to meet other Boys and Girls Clubs up in Tahoe at the 4-H ranch that's up there. When they call it a ranch, it's more like better any VRBO I've stayed at in the last year. So it's really nice. They have boats, jet skis, lots of stuff that our kids will not be participating in. No boats, no water sports. I'm not going, so they probably will. I'm hydrophobic. I'm afraid of water. I don't know what thing, so I'm not supposed to swim. The sheet under that, this is our positive connection. This is a newsletter that just comes out. This is some of the things we have going on, obviously highlighted stories. Again, it's an opportunity for us to get out the wonderful things that we do have going on. Usually in this program, we have our Youth of the Year. We have one for each community come up, and then they give their Youth of the Year speech. They tell you about the state of the club. This year, our Youth of the Year is actually with their family, which most times I would be like, we've had this on the calendar since April. It's a good thing this person is with their family, in my opinion, giving the opportunity to kind of strengthen that bond, to where sometimes, as you guys can imagine, the Boys and Girls Club's a surrogate for that family. So in this case, I'm not upset, but we did get thrown a curveball, and we were like, hey, do we have anybody that wanted to present? So that's where this fine human being, Kayla, one of our longtime members, jumped up and said, I'll talk about the club. So this is Kayla, and Kayla got this assignment 2 days ago. Oh, okay, yesterday, even better. Boys and Girls Club, let's go. So she got it yesterday, but she jumped in and she was like, I'd love the opportunity to get up and talk about the Boys and Girls Club. So I'm gonna shut up, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna go back there, I'll answer questions at the end, but Kayla's gonna come up and she's going to give a little speech she prepared for you guys, if that's all right.
All right, Caleb.
Go ahead, Kayla.
I've been going to the club for about 6 to 7 years. They have helped me become more confident about my body and disabilities. They have helped me overcome a lot of my fears about a lot of different things. My favorite programs at the club are Smart Girls, Art, and Hope Squad. And if it wasn't for the club, I wouldn't have the career opportunities that I have. And the what has interested me the most about this summer is the concept of traveling around the world each week, because I get to learn new things about the country of the week. And the things I'm looking forward to for the summer is going to the movies and 4-Bay Fridays.
Thank you.
Kayla, thank you.
All right, Caleb.
As Kayla kind of alluded to, a lot of this summer is an adventure-based summer. We want the kids to get out. We want the kids to know about Oroville. She mentioned the 4-Bay. We have 2 opportunities each week with the 4-Bay. Fridays is Fun Friday. We go to the 4-Bay. We have fun. We don't tell the kids that mud isn't mud. We're like, don't worry about the ducks and the geese. They don't poop in that. It's mud. You're fine. But then on Wednesdays, we actually go through, and part of our crew experience, career readiness empowerment workforce, it helps if I do my fingers. Lots of acronyms. So with our crew program, we actually have kids working at the 4-Bay in a 8-week long internship that'll result in them being eligible to apply for jobs with the 4-Bay with that on their application, instead of kids going blindly looking for jobs saying, what's your experience? Well, I babysit my little brother and I've stacked wood for my uncle. That's not job experience. Job experience is actually working at a place, having the opportunity to have expectations and exceed them, having opportunities to receive instruction and kind of figure things out. You know, I think we've all worked for bosses before where I know that sometimes I speak in hieroglyph and then I get mad that people couldn't read my mind. So we're exposing that aspect of employment at a very early age. Also, we have Old Navy going on where kids are getting an opportunity to work in retail right now. Really excited about the fall. We have a partnership with Butte College where we'll be doing automotive. So the kids will go through and they'll get automotive, but on the other side of that, Butte College, little known fact, has a huge EV lab, electric vehicles lab that's opening up. So somebody gave us a really good idea about that, and we've been pursuing that. Super busy, but we finally got in, so we're going to start that next fall. We have our annual Lassen trip coming up. That is in the middle of July. We have kids going to Tahoe this weekend. We have Fun Friday movies where it's an incentive-based program because teenagers like do your chores without a little bit of allowance. No one's going to do their chores. Or they might do it, but they'll do it begrudgingly. So the more process, the more programs, the more opportunity you get involved in, the more points, the more incentive systems, whatever they come up with at their sites. And that's who actually gets that pecking order to go on those trips. Because also, little known fact, our vans only fit 8. So we're relegated for a natural pecking order. Do you guys have any questions at all?
Sound busy.
Yeah, well, this is the beautiful part. That's them. That is all Angelina and Jayla kind of planning it together and then coinciding and doing things. And the last thing that I'm really excited about, in July, we're actually starting, we do intramural sports, giving kids the opportunity to participate in sports. Maybe they couldn't afford it. Maybe they don't have the experience. Maybe they've not got the aptitude for it yet. We're going to be playing wiffle ball.
Oh.
So if you want to play wiffle ball, come on out. You won't be able to hit me, I guarantee it. Everybody's got weird skills. I could throw a wiffle ball like somebody. You know?
Are there any things for the future that you would like to see the district be able to help you with?
I'm so glad you asked. You smart. I like you. No, the thing that I'm really married to this year is we've been there. We've been on campus. I'm still shocked at the rate of kids that just don't know about us. the kids at LP and the kids at OHS that do not know we're on campus. All right, again, it's one of the most frustrating things in the world. We're doing these things, we have these opportunities, we're garnering support, we're getting a full head of steam, and we want to expose as many kids as possible. So that's where I know what I need to kind of kick into gear and what I need to get going within the community and really kind of shaking some trees. But from the board, that's something, if you guys have ideas or have a way in to really kind of making it. I mean, if a kid's in, trouble with grades, we're there. If there's a school attendance issue, we're there. If there's somebody that's not fitting in with either socio or whatever pressures they're having, we're there. And our philosophy at the Boys and Girls Clubs, devour and scour. So if I don't have the answer, it's not going to stop with me. I'm going to find out who does have the answer, who's got that resource, or who's got that thing. Because a large part of what we do is plugging people into where they need to go. So I'm really glad you asked that, because we definitely want to get the message and the impact that the Boys and Girls Club has the potential to do, and that we do with the members we do have on a much larger scale, getting more kids exposed to those opportunities.
Do you guys go to freshman orientation?
Jayla actually just secured that today. Yeah.
Okay.
So she met with the principals of LP and OHS today.
Yeah.
And then, so we're going to be in broadcast. And I believe we're also going to be linked in with the e-blast you guys do. So just kind of getting that out there. We're really looking forward to more tabling at summer school. They're out every day tabling, trying to get new members, new opportunities, things like that.
You take kids to sporting events, high school sporting events?
Yep. And then we did, it was, oh man, the Lakers were playing, right? So it was borderline child abuse, because we took a kid to a Lakers game. So that's just horrible. I felt, I draw the line at Giants. I will not take the kids to a Giants game. We will not do that. A's all day. Come on.
Turn his mic off.
But we want to expose the kids. We want to get them out. In a perfect situation, success to me is a kid going out, leaving the community, going to college, gaining worldly experience, and then coming back, paying that forward and getting somebody else excited about opportunities, excited about being proud of where you're from, but also carrying that, getting new things, making it richer, coming back and presenting that down to the next generation below. So that's really, really what we want to do. So,
Thank you.
any other questions at all?
So how many kids come, from Orville after school to your program?
Right now, their average for summer, they're getting anywhere between 12 and 15 kids a day.
What about during the year?
During the year, anywhere from some days 5, some days 20. It just depends on the day. And what we get is a lot of kids will sign up and they'll come through, like we were doing football support.
Uh-huh.
So making sure the kids aren't getting in trouble, making sure the kids are staying eligible, helping out in grades, things like that. And then that kind of wanes off once other things come in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Does that
that's
happen to the
across.
coaches?
Go
Does
ahead.
that happen with the coaches? You're coordinating with the coaches a little bit too?
Yeah, they did
Support
that last
that?
year,
Okay.
absolutely. And that's something we've tried to do as a main staple in all of our clubs and communities. Be impactful where we can, especially when you have the luxury of being on the school campus, supporting and helping out. Any other questions at all?
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you guys
Thank you.
very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right.
Good job.
Okay, recognition of individuals who wish to speak on non-agenda items. Anyone? Non-agenda?
She said yes.
Oh, come
Go ahead.
forward, state your name and,
Hi,
yeah,
Jen Lopez.
hi.
Hi. So I wanted to come back and, because I came in at one of the last board meetings and raved the difference my son was going through with getting his IEP. And it just kind of seems like after the first month of him being, month and a half, everything kind of falls off. You don't hear from his caseworker. He doesn't return calls or emails. My son's in summer school now because of this happening. Unfortunately, in May, my daughter passed away unexpectedly. And so my 2 kids missed a lot of school. I emailed the teachers and was letting them know what was going on to see if I could get the schoolwork and so that Bray and Pay could stay on top of their studies. Nobody responded. I reached out to Dr. Collins after 2 weeks of nobody returning my messages. That next day, I got emails from 2 of the teachers. So it's just frustrating.
Did the case carrier ever reach out to you?
No.
Okay.
I actually went into his classroom. He was like laying on the ground doing some namaste thing. And I talked to him, and he said he was going to be talking to his math teacher and he would get back to me. I never heard from him.
So this is someone employed by the district at Las Plumas to
Yes.
target.
And I was excited in the beginning because he seemed so gung-ho to help. He just seemed very involved, and it just stopped. With Braden, with his history class, he was told to focus on this project, the Cold War project, and not to worry about anything else from the time that he had missed. He did that. In the last day of school, he was sitting in his area, the teachers in the back of the room, asking if anybody wanted to volunteer to present their project. No kids. I take that back. I think he said there was 1 or 2 kids that volunteered, and then that was it. So my son didn't go up there and present it. Okay, with my son, you have to tell him, okay, Bray, it's your turn to go up there and present. These are things that had been talked about with his IEP stuff. So his teacher, at first said that he asked him to, and then when I was in front of him and was calling my son, because I don't do back and forth, he said, she said, his story changed, and it was, well, I asked if anybody wanted to. So he ended up failing my son from his history, which now he's in summer school, which he doesn't have a teacher anymore. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. Then with his math, I have text messages from his math teacher where she wasn't there the last couple of days of the year. And Mr. Mendoza was in there the day they did the second part of their final. And the first part of the final was the week prior. They had a paper that they got to use on their second part of their final. That was never given back to Bray to even get to have the opportunity to use that. And he asked Mendoza, what do I do? And he said, just do what you can do. So then his teacher never graded his other work he turned in, let alone his final. He had a 0. So I texted her and asked her about it. She said he never turned it in. I relayed everything that happened that day in class. So her text messages went from she never got his final to she gave him 10 points for his final. And all of his test scores, like they were 39 out of 46, 38 out of 46. His lowest one was a Unit 5 test, and he got a 4 out of 40. So she said she gave him 10 points because it pretty much averaged his testing. No, it wasn't. So I took a screenshot of all his test scores, sent it back to her. She ended up saying, I'm not even going to, because she said that she never got his final. Then it went to, she got his final and she was giving him a 10. Then it changed back to, and it's all on text messages. So it's just frustrating. Like, I feel like our kids are held up here and our teachers are held down here. And they didn't go to school to be teachers. They're trying to learn themselves.
What kind of a class is that you're speaking
It's
about?
just his last math class for high school. So
A regular math class?
regular math, yeah.
When you say here and here, you're talking about responsibility.
Yes, I feel like kids are held up here on what they're supposed to be doing, and the teachers are here. When I went and met with Eisenberg on his last day, and he was saying his excuse for never returning my messages was, well, I send this email every month. And I'm like, yes, you send a generic, but I sent you emails personally. Well, I don't have time to deal with every parent. And I said, well, I can guarantee not every parent emails you. I'm emailing you because my son struggles. If you were in the meetings, you would have known this. And I asked him for help, and he had an excuse for everything, and then nothing. So it's just frustrating. I mean, I know you guys have seen me a lot with this whole fight on trying to get him the help. I finally get it, and I feel like, what was the point in going through all this when there's no follow through?
So what year is he next year?
He's going to be a junior.
Well, we've been glad you come to keep us apprised of different things that go on. And and is he going to play sports next year?
Yeah. Yep.
So then you can tell us how that all goes.
Yeah.
And if he's able to.
Yeah, so I was shocked. I never heard of any help stuff with football with math grades. Definitely not anything that the coaches talked about or anything like that with the Boys and Girls Club. So that was nice to hear that. That's nice to hear that. But yeah, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know where I'm supposed to go with
So
it.
Are you saying that he needs tutoring help to be eligible to play?
Well,
And-
so we took him out of his elective and
Yeah.
put him into is it
Tutorial support.
yeah, put them into that. And so OUHSD actually was really good with communicating back and forth with me the last 2 weeks of school. So that helps him. It's just when he's struggling in class, it's frustrating to still, even if I email them, to still not get any correspondence. I can't help if I don't know.
Did you say the coach wasn't responding to, I mean, you have some concerns about him being eligible for football?
No, I don't have any concerns
Oh,
on it.
okay.
He's in summer school making up his history
okay.
class.
Okay, that's fair.
He just doesn't have a teacher the last week and a half of it.
Okay.
So I don't know how that works, but
He must have a substitute.
no, they get a packet and they go sit in a different room. They have no teacher for the history class.
So if they have questions, do they?
He just says that they have to go sit in a room and work on their packets. I don't know, it's
Do they
kinda
have a book
disheartening.
that they used to fill out those packets? Well, how did they do the packets?
I should have brought him with me. That I'm not sure of, to be honest. Yeah, I just found out on Monday that the teacher didn't come back.
And then you have gone to the principal to express your concerns?
Not on summer school, no, not on summer school. But I was at the school the day of graduation, trying to talk to Collins about my concerns.
Is there a summer school principal now?
That's Mr. Oaks.
Do you see Mr. Oaks?
The day I went to find out what class Bray needed to be in, because his math teacher said that she just gave him a D and passed him, but on his transcript it showed an F. So he kind of left me standing there for 35 minutes and said he'd be back to help me. Wait right here. We stood there for 35 minutes. He never came back. So I kind of gave up and
So it looks like he got a D in math in all his grades. He failed one class.
yeah, his history.
Right. So is he passing that class right now?
I'm hoping
Okay.
their last day is tomorrow.
Oh, it is? Wow.
No, they said, well, it's supposed to be Thursday. And then I guess if they have all their work done, then they just turn it in tomorrow and they're done.
Okay.
So he's doing history and then making up his bio from his freshman year.
Okay.
So, but I just wanted you guys to be aware of, with the IEP stuff, I don't really know who else I'm supposed to turn to on it. If I email the principal and I'm emailing the teachers and not getting responses.
Oh, what about going in and seeing teachers next year after school?
I've done that. I've done it.
Are they usually there when you go?
No, some of them leave right after school. So, and my issue is I work in Yuba City.
Oh,
So on Fridays is my day to try to go and deal with all the other
Mhm.
stuff. So,
thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
So I met some of you in person. My name is Rachel Martinez. I am the 25-year employee of this district that you guys decided to let go, fired, whatever we're calling it. The reason I came today is it really bothered me the things that I was being told, that firing me was a formality. That word is really hard to hear when you've given 25 years of your life to a school, to a district. It's basically saying you don't matter. And that's how I felt. That was probably one of the most hurtful things I could have heard. And being told that this board doesn't have the power that people think you have. You do. Obviously, If that's how you feel, you're not reading the contract yourself. Because in 18.2.3, 18.24, all the way down, it lists each part that you guys could have done. I'm not saying to save my job, but do your job. That's all I'm saying. And nobody, I mean, you guys didn't even look at the packet. Did you not wonder why 42 teachers and staff members showed up here to talk in my behalf? Could it have been because I was doing a good job? I love that school. I love those kids. And I took the fall for everybody. I'm not the bookkeeper. The stuff in my charge packet had a ton of stuff in there about the ASB bookkeeper. I've never been the bookkeeper. I have never wrote checks. I don't have anything to do with that. Did 2 kids rip me off? Yes, they did. Did those kids get in trouble? No, they didn't. I got to sit at graduation and watch you guys shake their hand and give them a high school diploma. Well, I'm out of a job. One of their family members came to me and apologized to me for what their child did. They don't owe me an apology. Their kid owes me an apology, but nobody did anything. I was told by my principal that he was going to go talk to their families, that the police were involved, and I did talk to them, that somebody was going to follow up with these kids. Nobody did. And I know that for a fact by their families. Nobody followed through. So over a year goes by, and then I'm blindsided by being put on a 10-day administrative leave. When this all went down and I reported what had happened, Corey told me, Rach, don't worry, because I was freaking out. I thought, is this how I'm going to go out after 25 years of my life here? Well, when he handed me that paperwork to put me on a 10-day leave, I did say to you, I wish you would have just been honest. If you knew this was the route you all were taking, you should have just told me. I waited for over 7 months to find out. And you know how I found out that I got fired by you guys? I got called by my friends at LP and said, Rach, your job's been posted. That's how I found out. You know when I got my packet in the mail? Saturday. I got it Saturday. So
On the packet, and you would have noticed when you got it, there was a proof of service sheet on the top and a copy of the original envelope because you did not pick up the.
I
certified
didn't
mail
get
that was sent.
anything. No.
That's what we got back from the post
I know
office
because
last
you put
week.
it in the envelope. I totally get that. But I did not get anything. So I just kind of felt like after 25 years, nobody has a decency to come tell me. You know, I mean, at graduation, I'm there. Why am I there? Because my niece is graduating. And I love those kids that were graduating. They kept coming up to me. Where have you been? Oh my God, you fell off the face of the earth. You know, and it's like, I don't know what to say to them. Am I ashamed of what happened? No, I'm not. Did I show people the packet that this district prepared that was full of a bunch of BS to just pad it? I was in trouble for people not signing their paper at the end of the night for gates. I'm not there. I'm at home in bed. I wasn't there. Games or soccer games, they said there were 4 games that Max Preps, the auditor, checked, and nobody, I didn't turn the money in for that. Did anybody go ask the coach, was there a game? Yes. Did you have a gate? No. They couldn't get anybody to work it. So I had to get a statement from those varsity coaches saying, yes, there were games, but no, we never picked the money up from Rachel. It never happened. So it's like, why was all that stuff put in there and it wasn't even fact checked? Another $5,000 was added to what was stolen. And when I asked you, why is it higher? You said, oh, well, it was some checks that were written. There's about paper trail, whatever. And I said right then and there to you in front of Dr. Collins, I don't write checks. I have never wrote a check. I have nothing to do with this. I start looking through the packet. It shows that a few pages later, that money was all deposited into the district account. If you guys don't like how it was deposited, then fix it. When we're told how to do stuff at classified employee status, that's what we do. We deposit the way it's supposed to do it in what account. If you guys didn't like it or your auditor didn't like it, then that should have been taken up within you all, not. I mean, I just felt like you added stuff in there that it didn't need to be. So when I did have my hearing, which was a joke, because I went up against this district by myself. A union lawyer didn't prepare a case. I wasn't represented. So I went up against them by myself. All of this thick packet stuff was not even brought up. You know what was brought up all the time? If y'all would have read what was actually said, they threw in my face that I covered the subs. That during COVID, when teachers were short 7 to 12 teachers a day, and I'm running around in a booth trying to get people covered, trying to put classes together, trying to see what we can do. On the phone with you in the morning, with Kevin Seamus, this is where we're at. That was thrown in my face by their lawyers saying, well, maybe if you weren't doing that, you could have done your job. Wow. Okay. I freaking kicked ass at that job. I mean, I picked up jobs that nobody was doing. And I felt like that I wasn't even worth talking to or asked if this is really what happened. I got to watch my principal, who I really care for, not tell one stitch of truth during his testimony. And when I confronted him at the LP Orville game, he tried to give me a hug and he said, Rach, what? And I backed off and I said, are you kidding me? And he said, what? And I go, you didn't tell the truth about anything on there. You lied about all of it. And he said, it was over a year ago. I forgot. Wow, really? I mean, I was stunned, but nobody cared. Nobody cared. So all I have to say to you, and I already said it to your face, do better. This board's job is to govern this district, not do everything that you think the district office wants you to do. Do better for our kids. You can shake your head, but obviously you don't have kids that go here and you have not worked here. I've been here a very long time. So I do know our district. And I have loved working here. I have loved the children. That is my favorite part. So the new person that you guys hired in my place, just please make sure she loves the kids like I did. The student store is called that for a reason. It belongs to the kids. It does not belong to whoever's running it. It's got to be a place for them to go, feel comfortable. If they're being bullied, come in. If they're having a hard time in class, I can't count how many teachers would send their troublemakers in to see me because I had good rapport with the kids. I treat them with respect and they treat me with respect, not counting my 2 that rip me off. And people can say, I had heard, oh, well, the district thinks that didn't happen. I don't really care what you think. So one of the kids bought himself a motorcycle. So I don't know. Just please do better. You haven't seen the last of me, but please do better.
Thank
Okay?
you. I'm sorry that, it all happened.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Thank you for coming.
I just wanted to piggyback off of hers.
Okay,
Because you
we're
guys-
at 15 minutes, so just take a second, okay?
Okay, I just want you guys are all from here. You guys know who Charlotte Ross was. The staff and the other kids call her the Charlotte Ross of Los Plumas. To me, that's huge because those were huge shoes to fill. And it's sad seeing the way she was treated with everything. The evidence was there. People weren't, it's just sad. And I'm here because I care about the kids. She cared for 25 years of her life to have doors shut in her face and nobody give a crap about it. It come in front of you guys with her not even knowing to be here to defend herself. So it's a sad situation.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, recognition of individuals who wish to speak on agenda items. Non-action informational items and reports. Any board comments? I have one that I'm going to read here. If anyone else has anything? Okay. Okay, this is from Ray Seahorn, who, where's he, Yellowstone?
Yes.
This is his comments he wants me to read tonight. I've heard from several very positive comments from people, especially grandparents of graduates, who expressed to me how much they appreciated graduation being live streamed. Being a grandparent of a high school graduate this year, I wholeheartedly agree. For many elderly or disabled grandparents, family members, and friends, attending a graduation and sitting on bleachers for 2 hours or more is asking a lot, and for many, far more than they can do. Many graduates have family who live great distances from Orville, and for them, they can save the expense of the trip and watch the graduation in the comfort of their home. We've been fortunate this year with mild weather. Family and friends who are elderly or disabled cannot sit through a ceremony in extreme heat. Another good reason for live streaming. Whatever the cost of the inconvenience, I strongly recommend that we continue providing this service. We need to serve our stakeholders. The number Corey gave us support live streaming. A total of 950 watched. Thank you.
Wow.
You know, I agree. I like the just the theme of, we're servants, and if that's what's, a need that's dictated by our parents, then yeah, I don't know what the financial cost is, but it seems to be, well worth it. So I would echo what Mr. Seahorn said. Any other comments? Okay. Dr. Willenberg?
So I just want to give you an update on Harrison. They rolled the turf. It's up this morning. It was all laid out. Now they're 2 weeks ahead of schedule. So we're hoping that Horn can come in, R&R Horn can come in and tear up the track in the next week or so.
Is it a bright green?
Yes. Yeah. You can see it on the security cameras too. It's very nice.
Good.
They said that the prep, they scheduled a week of prep for the turf. It didn't take that long because it was in great condition and didn't need a lot of work. So we've replaced 9 air conditioners at Prospect High School through a grant. And then we are working on irrigation on all the athletic fields at Las Plumas High School.
Good.
And so that's an update right now.
Will, any comments?
Oh, none yet.
Okay.
No, thanks.
All right.
Well, yeah, there is one thing. I want to say, on the record, thank you to Corey for being so supportive, during this time of transition.
Welcome. DOJ update.
So in your packets, we have the monitor's report from DOJ. He has to make a recommendation per the stipulated agreement every year. I'm just going to go to page 16, and it's the conclusions. And Dr. Rubalcaba will has met with Mr. Brown, and then Mr. Brown and myself are going to meet with DOJ next week and go over next steps. We have 2 more years of the agreement. And so the district, they are worried about who's going to take over for the stipulated agreement, overseeing it when I leave. So they want Superintendent Brown and to come up with a predecessor, and then me to work with them in this year to get them up to par. The monitor needs to increase their in-person visits and do more coaching in that. That was a DOJ request. Increased focus on building systems and structures to support CRPBIS implementation and continuity as staffing and administration changes over the years. Improve implementation of positive behavior intervention supports at Tier 2. So when you've taught in the classroom and students, you're still having issues with the students as a teacher, what are those next levels of intervention? And we need to work on that. Additional training for teachers on interventions available, ensure that our appropriate documentation is associated with voluntary transfers, and revise our annual training plan to include monitor and or additional consultants hired by the district to provide in-person training. All trainings are to build on each other and differentiated to ensure staff have both foundational understanding and the ability to build on skills. And this is all to do with discipline and that. Increased and improved training for our universal on-campus supervisors, limited to, but not limited to restorative justice, de-escalation, and trauma-informed techniques. Increased engagement with data. Increased work to implement Tier 2 meetings with teachers or admin and students. Improved communication between administration and staff regarding PBIS implementation. And make sure that SWIS, it's our reporting system, pulls into ARIES, our student information system, and we're working on that issue. And increase follow-up with staff regarding student behaviors and interventions, including but not limited to restorative justice practices and alternatives. So that's the overview. Basically, we've had 3 years of PBI implementation. We've done a great job getting here. Now it's going to fine tune it. And we're hoping that the 5th year of the agreement is just the 5th year of the agreement, and then it expires August 25 of 25. Any questions on DOJ?
Yes. So then on, I think it's number, I don't know what number it is, that about the district's progressive intervention policy. And I was telling you, anyway, I know I've asked you before about this, but I really didn't understand about what that was. So now I see that there are the different tiers and what you do, you know, during that tier. So then do the teachers talk when they've done all these different things down here, then they refer to the counselor or the social worker. So they don't send kids to the vice principal anymore.
Unless it's a fight or a weapon or something hardcore, then it automatically, it doesn't have to go 1, 2, 3. So I get into a fight and I punch a student. That's not going to be tier 1. That'll go to admin at tier 3.
Yes.
And then we'll work on interventions with the counselor, the targeted case manager, or the social worker to see why they got into a fight and can we repair the issues that cause them to fight. But I have a cell phone. I take it out. Teacher says, put your cell phone away. That's part of tier 1. And then they might call the parent or email the parent and say, hey, Corey's not putting his cell phone away. Can you help us? Then when it goes different, he refuses to put the phone away, then we go into tier 2 and tier 3 interventions. It might be checking it in the office. Prospect is doing these yonder pouches where every kid puts it in. And then their reward for positive behavior is they get to check it at break or lunch.
So the teachers then have to put whatever these violations were in the
Swiss, yes.
Swiss.
SWIS.
And so what is that? What do you say? Today, a kid yelled at me and slammed his book down, or
Johnny had his cell phone out. I told Johnny, put your cell phone away. That's a documentation in Swiss. Called mom. That could be another one.
yeah, and she
Called
didn't
mom,
answer.
And she didn't answer,
And she didn't
left
call
a
back.
message, didn't call back.
Right.
So we're just leading that because when DOJ came in, we weren't documenting all the things we did with kids before we
Right.
suspended.
Yeah.
And so we've done a great job of it, documenting it. So now it's trying to make sure we don't over document.
So is this working?
Yeah, it's still got some bugs.
No,
because
but I
some
mean,
people
is
aren't
it
buying into
making the kids more respectful and their behavior. Was that the idea of it?
Yes, and I think part of it is, we have some kids, even with the old discipline plan, that weren't gonna
Right.
take
sure.
care of reasonable requests. They weren't gonna comply. So you're still gonna have those kids that won't comply. And so the goal is to keep them in school instead of suspending them. And we were suspending thousands of kids out of school every day, so they were losing their education. We could go to in-school suspension. In-school suspension will count as a suspension. So then you're in the same boat with that, because your suspensions are going sky high.
Yes, but at least you have the kids at school instead of at home with no parents. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
up
I
to
mean,
me.
if their goal is to not have them lose their education, they wouldn't lose their education in school suspension, right?
Well, that was the problem. They weren't getting the supports, because DOJ has it laid out in the agreement. If we do in-school suspension, and you can do that, is has to have counseling, kids have to have their work, and teachers have to be able to accept their work. And that wasn't happening.
Well, who could make that happen? Like, I mean, I don't know. How do you redeem that or whatever? I mean, could you have a successful in-school suspension program?
I think you could, but it's going to take a lot of buy-in from principals and assistant principals to do that.
One more question. I don't know if we talked about this before, but if we don't become substantially compliant, is there a possibility that our agreement could go on longer than 5 years?
Yes, they will take us back to the Butte County Superior Court and extend the agreement.
Okay.
So how are they judging this?
So the monitor comes in
Yeah,
and visits. And then DOJ came in and brought 3 attorneys in and visited the sites, talked to people, talked to kids, talked to staff. And then they came up with their view of how we're doing business in the Orville Union High School District.
so there's really no numbers for all this to show what's working and what isn't.
Well, we're going from 1,000 suspensions at each comprehensive campus to 200 at each campus.
Mm-hmm.
You're going from 90. When I first started in the district 24 years ago, we were doing 90 expulsions a year. We're at 20, and that's a high number. The last 3 years, we've been low, but we've had outrageous things happen this year. So they had to be
Right, sure.
expellable offenses. So, yes, we have the numbers, and we have to provide all of those incidents to DOJ monthly.
Mm,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Old business, there is none. Consent calendar, recommendations for approval. Do I have it?
So
Motion.
moved.
And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 21, Dr. Willenberg, donation of Old Harrison Stadium scoreboard to Orville Little League.
So we were approached by the Orville Little League about donating our old scoreboard at Harrison Stadium to the Little League for the fields down off of Mitchell. And I gave you an email from Jennifer Just today. They couldn't be here because they had a tournament, but they are in the middle of our tournament time or are unavailable to meet. We're interested in obtaining the scoreboard from Harrison. As a youth sports organization and nonprofit, we can only do field repairs and upgrades based on the fundraising dollars we bring in. Feather River Parks and Recreation do what they can do to help us maintain a safe and quality playing environment, but their funds are limited as well. We are hoping that the OUHSD would be willing to donate the Harrison Stadium scoreboard to us and place on Nolan Field. This particular field has been without a scoreboard for more than 15 years. We use this field for our junior baseball players 13 to 15, as well as sharing the field with OHS and LPHS baseball teams when needed. We host district tournaments on this field, and we have hosted our section tournaments also, and a scoreboard would be a great upgrade. So what I told Mr. Holt, who's the other part of this, the scoreboard is not fully functional. and they said they didn't care. They just wanted the numbers so they could keep score. So if the board wanted to donate it to the Little League, I would just say it's as is, and they come and remove it after we get it down from the post.
So do I have a motion for
Moved.
that approval?
So moved.
In a second, comments or questions? Make sure that that's explained well. As is, they pick it up.
I will talk to Ms. Just tomorrow.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 22, new Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction job description. Mr. Brown.
Yes, we are converting one of our director of curriculum into an assistant superintendent, and he will shoulder all aspects of student achievement, all subject areas, support, credit recovery, special ed, all aspects of student achievement. We'll talk. We've made an adjustment to what we proposed to a 3-year contract with 3 steps.
Okay, so item 22, we're gonna vote on the position. 23 will be on the contract then.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
So item 22, do I have a?
23.
23.
And 24.
I know, but I mean, aren't we voting on?
22 is the
first?
scoreboard.
22 is the scoreboard.
Okay, then I have the old one.
Yeah. Your numbers were off. I know where your heart was. It was in the right place.
So yeah, 23 is just the job description.
Okay,
You have it.
okay, 23. Do I have a motion? Recommendations for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 24, 4-year employment contract with John Wood to serve as the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. Mr. Brown.
Yes, this is where we're going to make an adjustment and go to 3 years and 3 steps.
Okay.
So that needs to be spelled out in the motion.
Spell out numbers wise.
Whatever your changes are needs to be spelled out in the motion.
Okay. So you,
So if I make a motion, I would say the steps also?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd make a motion on item 24 that we'll change this to a 3-year contract with John Wood, and there will be 3 steps. Step 1 will be, maybe you can help me with numbers.
162 to 23,
And
step
then
2.
Step 2 would be,
172,006,
and step 3 would be,
182, 481.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Or comments or questions? All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 25. I'm not saying that word.
Addendum to the assistant CBO's contract. And that is, so what I did was I created a step ahead of the principals to create directors and a step ahead to create the CBO or assistant superintendents. And her salary was off by a small number, and so what we're asking here is to make the adjustment so that she is on par with what we're compensating CBOs, assistant superintendents.
So she would just be on step 3 of that.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
This is a different amount, right?
482.
Okay.
Where she is now would be
Right.
off by a little bit.
Okay.
It's like a couple thousand dollars.
Yeah.
Recommendations for approval.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 26, new Director of Student Services, Director of Special Ed Education job description. Mr. Brown.
Yes, this person will be will lead aspects of student support and be a big player in our responding to DOJ. They would lead a lot of the training of new vice principals, PBIS, positive PBIS. There's another one. I'm drawing a blank now. And leading special ed operations as far as the department chairs, case managers, psychologists at site administration, the operation of it. I think we had an issue here that was brought up tonight that could have been resolved by having some follow-up. you know, in that in the order of operations over there. So yeah, this person would come back. That person will fill a spot that was left open over at the adult ed CIS compound, but the work would be modified a bit.
Okay, recommendations for approval.
So moved.
A second.
Comments or questions?
So this isn't going to be the possible principal then at Prospect? I mean,
No,
no,
that person's going to fill the spot by the vacancy left by the principal from Prospect. That person left to fill that position in Prospect, leaving a vacancy
right,
over
right.
here, and that person will fill that space, or this person
So
will
we're
fill
hiring
that
for that.
space.
Still,
Any
does that
questions?
make sense? Bonnie?
You understand?
So what you're saying on number 26, they're also going to be the principal at Prospect if
No.
needed?
No, they're not.
Okay,
That position will be hired also.
so that's
You
it.
guys already shifted somebody to that position.
That
So
leaves
this
an
just leaves a
opening.
whole other position open.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Updated 23-24 administrative salary schedule. Mr. Brown.
So we've modified it a little bit to shorten the amount of time to get from step 1 to step 10. We have been flying administrative positions for a while, and it's been really difficult to get quality candidates in here. And it's put us in kind of a position, a tough position to climb out of the shadow of DOJ and to support kids where they need to be supported, because we're not getting the kind of experienced candidates that we should. You know, Orville should be a destination district. And we want to make sure to close all the gaps so that the rest of the world knows that. And this is one of those methods we're going to use to attract the very best people we can get.
Okay, recommendations for approval.
So moved.
Second,
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 28, new Director of Human Resources, job description. Mr. Brown.
Okay, so this director position will be someone who can come and help with investigations, grievances, complaints, and other personnel matters. We're hoping that after we take some time to assess what our situation looks like, then we can fill this position. If not, we may not need to. But I'm hoping to have this position available in the event that we do, so that we can be available to train new administrators and respond to DOJ, and really have our attention focused on what needs to be on our priorities.
Okay, so recommendations for approval. Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Second.
Okay, comments or questions? There is no salary attached to this at this time, is that right?
Yes, it's on the classified.
No, we just buried it in the job description.
Oh, there's
Right.
none attached to it yet?
Okay.
Okay.
All
And
right.
then I have a question. We were talking about hiring the person to help transition for the DOJ stuff to help you. Is that what this position?
No, that'll be in the Director of Student Services that you just approved.
That's number
Oh, gotcha.
26. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 29, the updated progressive intervention policy. Dr. Willenberg.
As part of the stipulated agreement with DOJ, the district adopted a progressive intervention policy. The district collaborated with OSTA and the DOJ to update the policy, which is now being presented for approval.
Do I have the recommendation is for approval. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second,
Comments or questions?
so the progressive intervention policy, that's what I asked you about?
Mhm.
So that's it with the
Yeah.
tiers and everything?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 30, 23-24 local performance indicators. Dr. Willenberg.
So a public hearing was held on the subject earlier this evening. The 23-24 local performance indicators are now being presented for approval.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second. Comments or questions?
Or I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 31, MOU between the district and the OSTA dated May 30th, 2023. Dr. Wallenberg?
So we reached an agreement with OSTA to contract for school nurses, librarian services, because we have not been able to hire a librarian with Mr. McCutcheon's retirement, and speech and language therapists if we need to. And so by law, because it's bargaining unit work, we have to get an agreement if we're going to contract. And our agreement with OSTA is we'll keep flying those positions until we can get people that qualify for those positions and are not contracted.
Okay. So we have a recommendation for approval. And do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? It's kind of, this became an issue last year, right?
Yes.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 32, updated CSEA and OSTA contracts.
So the district was notified by legal counsel that per ed code, the district board has the authority to delegate authority to any administrator the ability to enter contracts. However, in order to be binding, a school district's governing board must approve or ratify the contract. The approval or ratification to be evidenced by a motion by the board duly passed and adopted. It's Ed Code 17604 to be in compliance. Both contracts have recently been updated and are presented for approval.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 33, 2324 Education Protection Account Spending Plan. Susan's not with us.
So I'll take it. At the state level, revenue generated from Proposition 30 is deposited into an account called the Education Protection Account, EPA. These funds are not additional revenue. Instead, an estimated 45% of the district's regular revenue limit apportionment is held in this account and not paid in accordance with the normal apportionment schedule. The district will receive an estimated total of $8 million of EPA funds paid on a quarterly basis. The board must approve a spending plan for the EPA funds. None of the funds can be used for administrative purposes. Since the EPA funds do not constitute additional revenue, but merely a different combination of the state apportionment sources, the proposed spending plan will be to journal existing teacher salaries and benefits to the EPA source in an amount equal to the revenue received. Recommend approval.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 34, awarding of food service bids.
So due to this super co-op no longer going out to bid for all districts with their co-op, each district must now go out to bid individually. 4 vendors submitted bids and were scored based on price, service, and delivery, quality and grade, and references. We're recommending awarding bids as presented.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 35, out-of-state travel requests.
You got me again. The district is requesting approval for John Wood, Lamar Collins, Mike Voth. He's our new assistant principal at LP. Chris Bridges, who's a universal at LP. Kristen Wiedemann, principal at Orville. Doug Criddle, her new assistant principal. Billy Cash Jr. and Bertha Campanero to attend the National School Safety Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada from July 24th to 28th. The goal of this meeting is to gain a better understanding of school safety practices to provide a stronger foundation for further safety protocol development and implementation. Expenses will not exceed $25,000 and will be funded by the Learning Recovery Block Grant.
Recommendations for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? Now, I've seen some of those bulletproof doors. They're like big. I don't know if that's,
High dollar.
yes, high dollar.
Yeah.
You have a question?
Who is Billy Cash and Bertha Campanero?
So Bertha Campanero is a teacher at Prospect and Billy Cash Jr. is a universal at Orville High School.
Just the lock work.
No, it's Jason. Billy is campus security basically, and so is Chris Bridges. So we're taking campus supervisors, administration, and teachers to go to this conference.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 36, declaration of need for fully qualified educators.
So as the district may be required to partially fill credential positions with personnel operating under a long-term emergency permit, the board must annually approve the declaration of need to comply with Commission on Teacher Credentialing regulations. And we're recommending approval.
Have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 37, annual statement of need for 30-day substitute teaching permits. Dr. Lamar.
On a normal basis, the district substitute teacher pool is partially filled with personnel operating under a 30-day emergency permit. The district can only employ these people if the board approves an annual statement of need. We're recommending approval.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 38, 23-24 board meeting calendar.
On an annual basis, the board calendar is created and utilized as a guideline for dates when items will be submitted for board consideration or action. We're recommending approval for the 23-24 board meeting calendar.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 39, purchase of a 2023 Ford Transit 150 van with wheelchair lift.
So the district is seeking approval to purchase a new van with a wheelchair lift from Sunset Vans to transport students on special education routes. The cost of the van is $89,905.03 and will be funded by the Arts and Music Block Grant, which was approved when we did the grant back in April.
Recommendations for approval. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And second.
Second.
Comments or questions?
So I don't understand about the arts and music block grant for the school bus.
So it's not a school bus, it's a van.
A
And
van,
so-
well, it's,
The Arts and Music Block Grant, parts of it were for arts and music. So we surveyed all the teachers and admin and say, what do you need? And then there's a piece in it for any other expenditures. And when we talked to staff, we needed special ed vans with wheelchair ability, and we need vehicles for maintenance. And so part of those expenses will come out of that block grant next year.
They are scarce. Those
Yes.
vans are scarce.
And this one's gonna go up. That's why he wants to buy it now.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 40, amended personnel assignment order. Do I have a motion for
so moved.
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 41, expulsion case 18-22-23.
I make a motion that expulsion case 18-2223 be expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year and the first semester of the 23-24 school year, and be referred to the Butte Community School to continue their education.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 42, expulsion case 19-22-23.
I make a motion that expulsion case number 19-2223 be expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year and the first semester of the 23-24 school year, and said expulsion be suspended and be referred to the Prospect High School to continue their education as set forth in the student's stipulated expulsion agreement and rehabilitation plan dated and executed on May 18th, 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 43, expulsion case 20-22-23.
I make a motion that expulsion case 20-2223 be expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year and the first semester of the 23-24 school year, be referred to the independent study program to continue their education.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 44, items for next agenda.
So the next agenda will be budget and LCAP and a personnel assignment order.
when is the next board meeting?
5:15 on June 28th.
Right, and
Next Wednesday.
And the 27th is the 4 o'clock.
27th is, yeah, it's 4 to 7, right? Where would that be?
Here.
Right in
Four
here?
to seven.
27.
The meeting on the 28th will be at our office. So it should be like a 5 minute.
Oh,
5:15, not 5:30.
Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
second.
Here, good night, and we will see everybody next Wednesday, or Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Here at
Tuesday.
4, and then next Wednesday